When democracy slides into oligarchy, we don't lose our country overnight. It happens gradually and then suddenly, as the wealthy few transform economic power into political control. What we are witnessing isn't just partisan politics as usual. It's the culmination of decades of wealth concentration reaching its logical conclusion. A government that works exclusively for the ultra-rich while fucking abandoning everyone else. An oligarchy isn't some abstract concept from political science textbooks. It's what happens when billionaires dictate government policy directly rather than through traditional lobbying. Our public institutions become vehicles for private enrichment, where criticism of powerful figures becomes criminalized. Look at Tesla. And tax policies overwhelmingly favor the already wealthy. Conflicts of interest between government and business becomes features, not bugs in the system. In an oligarchy, social safety nets are dismantled while corporate welfare expands. Sound familiar? It damn well should when you look at what's happening in the government of the United States right now. When oligarchs consolidate power, the consequences are devastating. We encounter democratic collapse. Elections become performative art while real decisions are happening in a boardroom. Then there's economic devastation. Middle and working class Americans watch their economic security evaporate while being told it's for their own good. Then there's the social divisions. Oligarchs weaponize cultural issues to prevent any type of unified opposition to their economic agenda. And then we have institutional corruption. Government agencies that are meant to regulate powerful interests, instead, they protect them. And in an oligarchy, you have a loss of rights. Civil liberties become expendable when they interfere with corporate profits. And the worst part about an oligarchy is the people who are harmed the most are often convinced to cheer for their own exploitation. Oligarchs are nothing new. From the fall of the Roman Republic to the Russian oligarchs who plundered their nation's wealth after the Soviet Union collapsed. History is filled with cautionary tales. The Gilded Age of the late 19th century saw American robber barons accumulate unprecedented wealth and political influence. And it took massive progressive movements, trust busting, and eventual New Deal reforms to restore any balance at all. We are now faced with a second Gilded Age, but this time it's on steroids, with wealth inequality exceeding even the extremes of the 1920s before the Great Depression. Confronting oligarchy requires courage and persistence. We need to recognize the reality, call it what it is, not normal politics, but a fundamental threat to democratic governance. We need to demand accountability. Politicians serving billionaire interests instead of voters must face consequences at the ballot box. We need to be supporting independent media. When major outlets are controlled by the same interests that have captured the government, independent journalism becomes necessary. We must build coalitions. Oligarchs hurt almost everyone. We need to build alliances across traditional political divides based on shared economic interests. We need to fight to protect democratic institutions. We need to be defending voting rights, fair elections, and the rule of law like your future depends on it, because it does. We need campaign finance reform. A political system that is dependent on wealthy donors will always serve their interest. The fight against oligarchy is the defining struggle of our time. It won't be easy. Those with billions at stake won't surrender influence without resistance. But throughout American history, powerful movements have overcome the impossible. Democracy cannot survive when wealth equals power. It's time to decide, will we accept government of, by, and for the wealthy few? Or will we reclaim the promise of government of, by, and for the people? The choice is still ours, but that window is closing fast.